Good evening and welcome to the Jaymie Icke Show. Now, hypocrisy, that's the theme of the night. With the G20 in full flow, leaders from around the world condemn Russia for their war in Ukraine. These include leaders from countries like the UK, see recent wars in Libya, Syria, Iraq and Afghanistan, of which 50,000 civilians died in Afghanistan alone. Saudi Arabia, who are currently bombing civilians in Yemen and causing a humanitarian disaster. Israel, who bomb just about anybody they like, usually one of Palestine, Syria or Lebanon. And of course, the USA. I mean, come on. See recent wars in... No, I haven't got long enough, sorry. It's a complete farce. Now, I'm against conflict of any kind, and I mean any kind. In any conflict, it's the civilians that suffer the most. The innocent and children, and so on. I've had enough of insincere world leaders talking about peace while spending billions on weapons and a lot of the time actually using them. How more people cannot see this hypocrisy is stunning to me. If we look back through history, we've always been at some form of conflict. It started with tribes fighting among themselves, then it progressed to tribes fighting other tribes, and then when the whole idea and concept of countries was formed, it went even further, to the point where entire nations were at odds with each other. But were they at odds with each other? And my simple question is why? When I walk down the street here in Derby on any given day, I'll walk past Muslims, Sikhs, Jews, Christians, white, black, gay, straight, every walk of life and belief system you can imagine. All different to me. And you know what? My first thought isn't, I'd love to kill this person because they don't live their life as I choose to live mine, or they don't look the same as me. And I would be quite confident in saying that 99% of the world would feel exactly the same as I on that particular subject. So with those numbers being the equation in play, why do conflicts continue to happen? Simply because somebody, with the ideology I've got there, is not the one driving the policies. Well, money is a massive driving factor in so much of the darkness in our world. And as we all know, war is one hell of a racket for some. So that's why no matter who is in charge, the same policies continue when it comes to conflict. And it's time for that to stop. We simply need to get back to being human. Sounds simple, but it really actually is. Treating each other as humans. And yes, you've got it, the easiest bit of all, showing each other some humanity. As the great Martin Luther King once said, I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the colour of their skin, but by the content of their character. I'd take that one step further from just race and apply that to just about every single fault line that divides us. Society constantly puts these fault lines up to separate us. And it's time we rip them up and engaged with each other as individuals. For example, we've seen in the last decade in the West, Muslims heavily demonised. And they're demonised as a group. Not as individuals, as a group. Now, does anybody honestly believe that every Muslim is the same? Blaming every Muslim for the acts of a few is like blaming every white person for the KKK. Now, I'm not sure we'd want that applied, so we have to do the same in return. I've said this before. Every demographic of society, there are nice people and there's some seriously not nice people. That's the fact of the matter. So with that in mind, it's time to basically ignore these fault lines, respect someone's right to be themselves, and judge them on how they treat you and how they treat others. Not judge them on how society has told you to judge them and what to think of them. If we do that on a national, local, international scale, conflicts would end. Conflicts of a large proportion would end overnight. The only area where I have an issue is where your fault line means that your belief system means you have to hate me because I don't share the same one. Now, there is some of them, and on those, I have one thing to say. get a new belief system if yours says that, because yours is fundamentally broken. Most of us just want to get on. Most of us just want to feed our families, live in peace, and enjoy our lives. However, those in charge don't want us to do that. They want us fighting among ourselves, so we don't see the fact that they're not working for us, they're working for each other. And it's time we wised up to that fact and came together. One other thing on hypocrisy before we start the show. I'm a massive sports fan, a massive football fan myself, and I'm disgusted by the hypocrisy that I'm seeing about this World Cup in Qatar. People that are self-proclaimed, judgments like Gary Neville, for example, calling out this, calling out that, while taking money off a Qatari broadcaster. You can't have it both ways, guys. You've got to deal with one or the other, and I've had enough of it. The World Cup is there. I don't agree with it being there. I don't agree with the way it's been brought about. It's almost certainly gone there because of corruption, but it's there. Get on with it. Don't turn around and start spouting self-righteous crap when you both know if England get to the final, you'll be there cheering.